When is a charity not a charity? There's a recent article in the Daily Beast that looked at a charity that has some questionable ties and has done a few questionable things. Now, the name of the charity is Move America Forward, and they call themselves the, quote, largest grassroots pro-troop organization in the nation. Now, the report in the Daily Beast, however, finds that, of course, might not be the case. Now, they looked at different documents, fundraising appeals, and tax records and found a lot of issues. And the Daily Beast explains, quote, an examination of its fundraising appeals, tax records, and other documents shows that Move America Forward has repeatedly misled donors and inflated its charitable accomplishments, while funneling millions of dollars in revenue to the men behind the group and their political consulting firms. Already, that should be a huge red flag. Now, there are some examples of this that I'm going to go into, but first, I kind of want to throw out this, not really, is sort of non-question, but isn't fundraising off sending care packages to troops and then using that money to fund political campaigns just an amazing low?
I mean, it is pretty despicable. In the first few points, when they say, oh, kind of they over-exaggerated their claims, well, I'm not too bothered about that. I'd like kind of charities to say, oh, look at all the wonderful work they're doing. I mean, within reason, of course. And then if they pay their kind of the CEO of the company or the marketing director, if they pay him, you know, if he's got a six-figure salary, kind of per year, I'm not. I mean, okay, it's wrong, but I mean, many of the charities around the world, places like Oxfam and the Red Cross, their CEOs, they make a huge amount of money. So I'm not too bothered about that. But it's the fact that they're saying, oh, look at all the work we're doing, but then using it for political kind of purposes, just kind of their elites, and because it is a Tea Party group, you know, it's obviously not going to be bipartisan. It's going to be heavily partisan. It's just despicable. I mean, they're just kind of, oh, we support the troops. No, you just support the idea of the troops, and that's really it. And by supporting them, they just mean we like to talk about them a bit. They don't want to actually give any support to the wounded soldiers or the soldiers still out in the battlefield.
Can I just point out that the degree to which this scam was carried out is absolutely astounding. I won't get into the details, Jeff. I feel like we're going to get into more of that in a little bit. But it's this, unlike some of the other various other loopholes or I guess proxy ways that they conduct scams. This is pretty direct. This is a pretty direct scam, which is what is so surprising. Is they'll use the organization's super PACs and other things to get it circumvented, and then they don't have to worry about, well, A, violating the law, because fraud is kind of illegal, and B, slandering, tarnishing the reputation. This is, there's no like shadowy organizations they're using to do this. There's no secret funding campaign or organizations. Some of these politicians and individuals attach their names directly to this, and they're directly tied to a scam. That's what's very surprising about this for me.
Yeah, sure. What's really surprising about this is that anybody goes to Dick Cheney for an endorsement for a support the troops, like charity or supposed charity. Like the second you see Dick Cheney supporting the troops, like, you know, you're probably on shaky ground. Yeah, we kind of tease what Nick started a little bit. Stephen brought up, you know, if they're paying too much, they're not, you know, being as effective with the donations. Like, that's something all charities kind of wrestle with, and there's some shaky ground there. There's enough of that little stuff, although that stuff doesn't stand as an indictment on its own. This story is fascinating because it fails either way you come at it. So there's enough of these like small problems that we'll get into here in a little bit, that whenever you put them all together, it's too much, and eventually you got to bring the hammer down. But then there's also a few like specific examples of just straight up law breaking and illegality where they completely they lose any positive ruling just based on one thing. So there's no way to defend this, and I'll let Jeff go ahead and break down why.
Yeah, so here's some of the examples and some of the details. Now, Charity Navigator, which and other charity watchdog groups, okay, so they sit there and they go through and they look at stuff to make sure charities are actually doing what they're supposed to do, which is be charitable, right? Well, they have criticized Move America Forward, quote, Move America Forward, for spending a lot of money on administrative fees. Now, I know, Stephen, you touched on that, and that's not as egregious as everything else in here, but still, you know, paying lavish for lavish vacations and stuff, using the money, it's not exactly something that you want a charity that you donate to. It's not something you want them to do with your money, essentially. Now, once again, Pro-publica points out how the Move America Forward Freedom PAC, this was in 2012, spent over $92,000 on travel, which is understandable, ads, consulting, fundraising fees, and administrative help. Well, you might be saying, okay, that's a PAC. It's not the charity itself, so why bring this PAC into it? Well, the thing that ties this all together is a man named Sal Russo. Now, he runs a consulting firm in several PACs, including the Tea Party Express and the Move America Forward Freedom PAC. So he's tied in with all of these different things. Now, tax returns for Move America Forward show that millions of dollars were spent on Russo's consulting firms. Now, one such firm is called the Campaign Store. That sells, quote, on this website, retail political products. Interesting name. And also just happens to share an office with Move America Forward and two other PACs. It's a little interesting here, doesn't it? A Pro-publica reporter donated $25 to Move America Forward through their website. Okay, so basically $25 is how much of it costs to send a care package to an individual soldier. And guess what? Guess what showed up on her credit card statement? Her donation ended up going through the Campaign Store. Interesting. So once again, you've got some kind of shady stuff going on here, and I want to get your guys' reaction before I continue.
The Campaign Store, by the way, is also owned by Russo.
Yes.
So just to throw that in there. So this is a huge problem for a lot of charities. Whenever they have their records exposed, it's surprising to most people how much money goes into administration and promoting the charity and all that. But when you think about it, for a legitimate charity, if they're throwing 30% of their money into getting celebrities to promote their charity, that's theoretically to raise more money to do more good, right? So that sounds like a great idea. This is a blatant, obvious joke. The thing that Jeff didn't get into is all the pictures that they're sending back to the people of the look at the good work that we're doing. They'll send out pictures of troops where they're handing them their quote unquote care packages, and it will be from different companies or different charities from the year 2000 or 2003 or 2000. It's not even their pictures. They used a double amputee story who did something amazingly heroic after he was a double amputee, and they never helped that guy. He was what? I've never heard of this charity, and so they're a straight up scam. And the fact that they paid what was it, $2 million to Russo's consulting and advertising firm, and basically what they are sending out to people are Google images of soldiers. They just pull off any image and send it to them, and emailing that to people and saying, look at all the good work they're doing. That is the definition of a scam.
Can I just want to jump in with one of my favorite little tidbits of their horrendous dishonesty. February 2013, announced the stuff, says they adopted 800 Marines in a battalion, and then later they described it as a rousing success, and that all 800 Marines in the 1st Division Battalion, nicknamed Geronimo, were sent care packages and notes in Afghanistan. But then we find out that the Marines of Geronimo weren't in Afghanistan during the fund drive. They're deployed 3,000 miles away in Okinawa, Japan. They're not giving money to soldiers who are even there, for crying out loud, or giving money to soldiers at all. And there was another one I saw, I couldn't find it when skimming through our notes, but it was about saying it was working with a State Department sort of organization, or Defense Department organization. The Defense Department organization comes up and says, "Oh, sorry, Jeff. Are we getting to that?"
They said that they were working with another organization and then also working with the VA and the Department of Defense, as what you were going to say.
Yeah.
Said no, we don't work with those kind of charities. We just don't.
Yeah. All those organizations came back and said, "We've no idea what they're talking about. We've never worked with them before, so I don't know why they're claiming this." That's amazing.
Well, anyway, there's more. There's more. All right, so the Tea Party Express has reportedly used the Move America Forward mailing list to fundraise for the Tea Party, of course. Now, this comes from a former Tea Party Express consultant. He said Russo and others basically used the Move America Forward email list to start online fundraising. Back in 2008, when the charity list had about 50,000 names, and the Tea Party Express was just starting. He says this former consultant said it's definitely intermingled. This once again, this is incredibly blatant, and there's so much. I urge you to go and read the entire report. There's so much that I couldn't fit it in a 20-minute segment, couldn't fit it in a 30-minute segment. But what I wanted to say is this. If we're going to take any sort of lesson from this blatant misuse of the word charity, it's this. I think it's important to remember here that I think the IRS needs to get more involved in basically regulating charities, okay, and do some major oversights of charities and PACs and find out where the money is going. And most importantly, if you're donating to charities, do your research. Please do your research before you decide to give an organization money. You may think you're giving to a good cause, but your money might actually just be going into the pockets of the Tea Party or some sort of scumbag. So just do your research, guys.
All right. I'm so glad you brought that up, both the do your research thing, but more importantly, you said the IRS needs to investigate charities, and this is the angle I want to take on this. This story opens up a whole new light on, or shines a whole new light on why the IRS scandal was manufactured, and we got it wrong the whole time. So we've always been here saying, like, this is just, them trying to manipulate the political system to get the kind of laws passed that they want to get. This is them trying to blame Obama for something that's not even real, as we've debunked the IRS scandal multiple times, even just on this show. And so we totally missed it, man. The Republicans are evil geniuses, and we totally went for the debate, man. We were too busy fighting about how they're trying to pin stuff on Obama that's not even real. The real reason they don't want the IRS looking into these political charities is because they're using them right now to their own financial gain. Sure, they want to drag Obama through the mud, whether it's true or not. Sure, they want to have their powerful, political sway. But more importantly, what they've done is they've hamstrung the IRS right now. They've delegitimized the IRS and its search into anything that's associated with right-wing politics like these charities are. And they've completely lost, just defanged it, neutered it, whatever phrase you want to use. And they've blown the doors wide open for this kind of abuse. And, it's day-to-day corruption and illegality. It's not just the big picture. They're literally benefiting from this, on their bottom line right now. This particular charity, all right, so the founder and then one of the former member of the board of directors, I forget his exact title, chairperson, I guess. So they're kind of the two bad players here. So the founder of this, so he's got all his little PACs and political groups, right? And he's got this charity. So there's 3 or 4 total if you count the charity. They're all in the same office, which is already shaky because you've got these PACs that aren't supposed to coordinate with the charities. You've got them in the same office. How can they be in the same office, not coordinate? Again, that's shady, but that's not where the indictment comes from. Where these people have no leg to stand on is the amount of the rent for the building they're in was like $89,000-$90,000. The charity's rent was $89,000 or $90,000, meaning his non-charity status PACs and businesses that are in that office free rent because he's charging the rent for the entire office space to the charity. Literally, this charity is subsidizing his political PACs and for-profit businesses. And it's not just the founder, it's also the former chairperson or whatever. So he owns a financial company that processes credit card transactions. Whenever you donate to this charity, what financial company do they use to process those credit card transactions? The chairman of the boards or former chairman. And so he makes money in his pocket when you donate to this charity. And there's multiple examples of stuff like this. And one of those things by itself is enough the hammer should be dropped, but it can't, because the IRS scandal has delegitimized in the eyes of the public the IRS. This was a brilliant move by these evil geniuses. We fell for it. We took their bait and gave our little talking points about how they're trying to run Obama through the mud. They won. We thought we won. Everybody was happy. We got our SOMA. Everybody was satisfied, picking our sides and convinced that we were right. And these guys are laughing it all the way to the bank.